So we are here with Isaac, who is head of growth at Country Life Natural Foods, which is a CPG brand in kind of the health wellness space. Isaac, how are you doing today, man?
Yeah, doing really great. Happy to be here with you.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. So I guess just kind of jumping into things. I know you weren't initially the person we talked to on our first kind of call going over kind of Country Life's email and SMS, but as far as kind of being skeptical about agencies, because I know a lot of brand owners, a lot of people in the e-commerce space are. How has working with us been as far as compared to other service providers that you've worked with, or kind of what were like maybe main concerns when we first started working together?
Yeah, speaking to that note, so I myself in the agency space have a few clients that I help with web design and various other business niches. I've set up some email automations and things for them, but nothing on the scale of Klaviyo with what you guys have. I feel like with Go High Level, you can be like a jack of all trade agency type deal. With Klaviyo, you can just be solo focused on email. And so, having you on the team, say like skepticisms. Usually, you think agencies like we just want to add one more to the list. Hey, we just get one more on retainer, and we just have one meeting a month, and But so that's kind of like the fear that you have with agencies is we're not really significant. We're just another on the list. But your situation was a whole lot different. You gave a lot of attention. It's been a rocket ship for me, at least the whole way through, partnering together and tackling the different seasons, even because it's been like almost a whole year now that we've been writing this, and I feel like we're gonna have more years to come in the future. So this first year sets like a precedent of like, okay, let's analyze and look forward to what we can improve on the next year. So it's not like the typical agency feel; it's more like a partnership.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that. I think even coming on with like in your guys' account when we first did our initial audit, and you guys were kind of in the situation where email was already doing like fairly well for you guys. And you guys were at 26% of monthly revenue from Klaviyo. And what I talked to Mitchell about was just like they felt like they were hitting that cap. They didn't kind of know where else to kind of pull leverage from. And so, over the last year, pulling more leverage from that and kind of consistently hitting 40 to 45% from email has been big. But like you said, like setting, like now that we know what's possible, there's still so much juice to squeeze, especially as you guys run more ads and you guys are getting so much more site traffic. So there's so much more potential to pull over the next couple of years. I completely agree. As far as that right there, like we've done a lot. We've made a lot of changes over the last 12 months. How's working with us as far as our processes and how involved you guys are or how uninvolved you guys are? How's that been working with our processes?
Yeah, so for me, speaking from someone that's like in the weeds, it's really nice to have that feeling of being on like in the process of things, like handling the day to day, being a part of the emails, but also not being a part of it, like saying, "Hey, I trust his team to handle it." So it's nice to be able to like have the Slack channel where we can communicate, share graphics together, share thoughts, share, voice notes or huddle if we need to, but then also let your team, do your work, get your versions done, and then send us things to prove through Figma. And so it's been really really great to have like feel like an external arm of the company that's remote but yet highly effective. Not just remote and just milking the money, but remote and actually working. So yeah, that's kind of been really nice. You also ask us things too proactively. So you'll say, "Hey, what are your thoughts for Black Friday? What are you guys doing for this and that?" So you guys actually kind of give us homework to do at times. So that's been great. Also, as we as a company have been upgrading or changing our software, you've been cooperative in rolling with us, like adding, like we went from being Social Snowball to Smile. And so that's a whole different set of variables from one software company to another that you guys have to implement in the emails. And so learning how to place those in headers or footers and to make that the value make sense. So that's been really nice to not have to do all that heavy lifting myself. It's like, yeah, I know how to code and it's nice, but it's also good to have teammates that can also do things as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
stressful.
I enjoy our calls. I don't want to say the most because I know maybe someone else will watch this, but I thoroughly enjoy our calls. It's definitely a lot of asking the right questions, the hard questions, and then trying to figure out like the game plan and strategy of like what we're going to roll out over the next 2-4 weeks or 90 days or however long it is, and then kind of implementing that on the back end. Kind of parlaying off of that right there, has our reporting been helpful? I know a lot of clients, people I talk to, ask about reporting. How have you liked the reporting, kind of seeing all those data points on a weekly and monthly basis?
Yeah, actually, I will even say it's almost helped set a standard for me in the way that I communicate with some people as well. Because they're like, man, these guys are efficient. No, it's really nice to have a basic overview of how your emails are doing. I mean, obviously, anyone can go into the Klaviyo and look at your dashboard and get certain metrics, but a lot of business owners don't have the time to do that. And even people who are not business owners, even people who are like in their role is to look at those things, even the time is hard. So it's like if you can get something to feed to your Slack channel automatically, it just makes it easier. And so you guys provide that with your service as well. It's like, hey, once a week you're going to get feed to your Slack. That's going to give you kind of a wide overview. So even if you don't go into your Klaviyo, you still know what's going on in there. So no, it's very useful.
Awesome. And then as far as like you said, there's been so many changes, whether it's software or whether we're kind of redoing the angle of a flow or the strategy of how we're tackling the pop-up to welcome flow or what we're using in the campaigns. What's maybe been the most impactful in your eyes over the last 12 months or 11 months or so in that process? I know like a lot of changes as well, kind of being more direct and specific within the flows, as well as kind of like using micro topic kind of campaign emails that are kind of driving sales, but also not feeling salesy, because you guys have a very unique audience. One that, some people might say, oh, email and SMS doesn't work for our kind of customers. And I think over the last 12 months, we've kind of, shown that even with an audience like yours, those kind of things work and they work really well. So what have you seen over the last 12 months that has been really impactful there?
Yeah. The biggest difference is pivoting from encouraging people to purchase through discounts versus purchasing through value.
Mm.
Like, we've made a huge pivot from incentivizing people to come back to our store because, hey, we'll give you a lower price, we'll give you a cheaper price, we'll give you a discount, versus like, hey, come back to our store and buy our product because you want to live longer. Like, hey,
Yeah.
come back to our store. You bought it one time, you really liked it, like, do it again. Um, no, so there's just different ways that we've been able to communicate the value of what we provide, and then if it comes down to it, rewarding people who have shown that they're giving of themselves to the company. So it's like, instead of trying to get people to buy with discounts, rewarding people who are buying discounts. So that's been, I think, a really major pivot in the way that we're communicating in the emails, the way that customers are communicating back with us, like their feedback, how they like shopping on the site. Even implementing, like I said, the smiles and rewards program is another aspect of that, of trying to make shopping with us a more pleasurable experience. Um, yeah, that's been one of the things. Because like, it's not to say like discounts. Everyone loves a discount.
Right.
However, it's like, you're just, if you look like, we'd have to look at it. If you look in our analytics back in the earlier months versus where it is now, where heavily, like, the percentage on discounts is so much different. Just because of the things that have happened in the B2B section, moving customers over into that, and then just communicating clearly how we want to, sell on the store. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things I see value wise.
Yeah, I think what kind of made the pivot there as well is, there's a saying out there like most people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. And I think through our first couple of calls, as we were kind of coming up with strategy, what we noticed as well in the audit is you guys are a fantastic business with a fantastic product, and you guys have a lot of like so many happy customers and success stories. And we just weren't reminding customers of that often enough. And so like when you are a brand or a business with a great product, and like the goal to get those repeat purchases is just getting the product in the hands of as many people as possible first. And sometimes that could feel like it comes off to maybe aggressive, but it's more so just reminding people of who you guys are and what you guys are all about. And then because you guys are all about the right things, that kind of does a lot of the selling for you.
Right.
That was definitely a pivot that we kind of saw on some of our calls. It was just like, hey, don't think you guys remember how awesome you guys are as a brand, which means the customers don't feel that way either. So just reminding them of that has been helpful. As far as maybe any like specific results or achievements that have stood out to you over the last 12 months, I know there's a lot of numbers we could pull and throw out there, but anything specific that you maybe want to note or that's just stood out?
Yeah, so I think one of the nicest things that you've been able to help with is really getting a more scientific understanding of who our customer base is. Like I can't say there's like one person that's our customer because when you have a business, you have thousands of customers, it's like there's not just one. However, there's a type of mold, if you would, or like I forgot how that character type that they fall into. I know they're the type of people who read the labels. They're the type of people who go to the shop. They go shopping and they want to know everything inside of the products and things they're working with. It was tremendous, and that's just like one up. I mean, month after month, we've been seeing record growth in retention because honestly, it's like every month we're spending a lot of money on trying to get new customers to come in the door. And the more that we can get those customers to purchase again month 2, month 3, month 4, they just go into that cycle of, being lifetime customers. And yeah, you guys are really helping to make that funnel wider, to capture more of those customers by reminding them, hey, this is the value of why you made this purchase in the first time. And this is why, like I said, the VIP, I think VIP flow, we made a huge difference from that third to fourth purchase. That third and fourth purchase is like, I think we have like an incentive that works very effective. I don't even know the full stats on that, but we get so many calls from people. If it doesn't work well, if it doesn't work out, they're like, we want that incentive. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing about your customers as well. Is like obviously there's a couple of discounts here and there for those later repeat purchase incentives with a little bit of urgency on there. And if a customer calls and they're a couple of days late on that, and they still like you're gonna honor that window sometimes, most of the
sure.
time. But it's a fifth purchase or a fourth purchase, a 3 to 4, yeah, the fourth purchase there, and you just know that that person's like so much more bought in, and they're a loyal customer now. And like that's the difference. Like I've seen so many interviews from customers of like, oh my God, I got marketed to and I got so many incentives and discounts to become a purchaser. And now that I've bought 5, 6 times, I just never hear from the brands again. So that's a big shift, especially because your base of repeat customers is huge. So that's been interesting to see how those play out as well. As far as you mentioned something there, as you guys increase site traffic, because that's kind of the main goal, I would imagine for you is you're spending more on ads in different ways. You're doing mail outs, you're doing Reddit things, you're doing more Facebook ads and Google ads, maybe even spending a little less to get a little more traffic now that things are kind of optimizing and going well. How does it feel knowing like a big part of a big talk that I have with potential prospects is they don't see or feel the power of having the back end with email and SMS there, and they're so used to just Chad ramming volume on ads. How is it feeling now that we've got over the last year something built out to where even though you're pushing traffic and maybe they don't convert right away, there's something built there on the back end that kind of helps with that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for us, like I said, coming into it, I looked at what they already had going, and based on what businesses do, that's the most successful. And this business already had a weekly newsletter. Like it was a newsletter, but it was called like a recipe newsletter. So it was like disguised. It was a way around being a newsletter. It was like, hey, we'll give you recipes, not news. But and the open rate being 50% showed that people were actually looking forward to getting this recipe each week. What you guys helped to do was not only like make the newsletter more beautiful so that it's actually designed well and it looks nice and it's more like on target, but we also added like another email in on the week that was more geared towards product or adding value to the company. So having you guys there really helps to just communicate more about what we do because we're not Klaviyo is like okay, Shopify is big by itself. Klaviyo is also huge by itself.
Right.
And so to be a master of Shopify and a master of Klaviyo is a daunting task. And it's been a year for me, and I've gotten really good at Shopify, and I'm fairly good at Klaviyo, I feel like. But that's also because I have a strange background of being in agencies and using these softwares, and so like I'm not the typical employee you'll have working at your company that'll know how to use these systems and know APIs and know how to do automations and know how to do integrations. And so, yeah, what you guys have provided is something where, like I said, a lot of my non-technical staff and coworkers are just with us, working on the projects, filling in the details, whether it's through Slack or whether it's whatever. And then you and I can be like, okay, here's the API scopes, here's the docs, here's what we need to talk about. We can get down into the weeds
Yeah.
where we can keep people a little more easy. So it's a unique type of relationship.
Yeah, our Miro board flowchart is getting quite extensive. Um,
you might
awesome,
need
man.
you could probably sell that and make thousands of dollars.
Possibly. Awesome, Isaac. One last question, man. If someone was here right now and they were kind of on the fence about working with us, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You know,
The chia seed
it,
pudding.
the proof is in the pudding. No, but I mean, it. I would say, for us, you've been, as you said, such a huge return on investment. It's not just about, yeah, we love working with you. We love your team. We love what you guys are doing. But every month, I mean, even if you guys weren't really good people, if you guys were horrible guys, and still putting out these numbers, we'd still be paying you just based on the fact of the numbers, right? And so that's what's also there. Is like it's not just that you guys are great guys to work with and a nice team to have, but you guys are also punching out really good numbers. So by means, it makes sense to just keep coming back month after month saying, "Yeah, we want more."
Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate your time today, Isaac.
Yeah, I got to get back to work. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Alrighty, man. I will talk to you in Slack.
All right, bro. We'll
All
chat.
right. See you, Isaac.